Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon here for Tabletop Tap Room. Today we're talking about Golden Ages in the tabletop RPG space, which means, yes, I did read the Ben Rigg's post about the Golden Age of TTRPGs is dead. Dead. It was been killed. Call Inspector Gadget. So I'm not really going to cover his post because you know what? I think Eric Tenkar and GM Bloodworth, Unscripted Unchained, those vlogs have covered it well enough, and I will put the links in the show notes. Props to DM Bloodworth. I very much agree with him that he pointed out that the Ben Riggs, who's a historian, he's a game historian. He was using industry, hobby, and scene, and I believe a fourth word interchangeably. These things are not interchangeable. And I'll give you a good example. I became a wargamer. Now, there's a wargaming industry. They produce products to sell. And I would also say that, like, the Hobby Bunker, which at the time was in Malden, Mass, it's now in, I believe, in Wakefield, Mass, was part of that industry because they were selling and facilitating wargaming. And then you had hobbyists who collected miniatures and painted them, and they'd show up on Saturday and they would paint. Now, before I was ever a wargamer, I visited the Hobby Bunker looking for D&D product. I'm going through the yellow pages looking for stores that would be selling D&D kind of stuff, and I wanted to pick something up. I needed to pick it up now. I'm not going to order it online, have it mailed to me. I need to pick it up now, and so I can give it to my brother. And so I end up at the Hobby Bunker, and I see at the back something going on. They got some wargaming tables set up, and I wander down there, and there's this on the big table, which was like 8 feet by 16. The big table is laid out with most of the tables just covered in the 7 years war battle, Prussians versus Austrians, and just absolutely gorgeous. The painter who had painted, the hobbyist who had painted the miniatures, he's really into aesthetics. And he looks at me and he says, would you like to push a couple of regiments? And I'm like, sure. I don't know the rules, but yeah. They're like, the rules aren't important. So, well, the rules are important, but so I pushed a couple of regiments of cavalry, and I was hooked. Now, at that moment, I was interacting with the wargaming scene, but I was not a hobbyist. I quickly became a hobbyist, but at that point, I was just part of the scene because I happened to be there on a Saturday when all these hobbyists got together and they said, "Hey, want to try it? We'll give you a free hit of crack cocaine, get you hooked. Push some regiments. Now you're hooked." So yeah, so industry, hobby, scene, and whatever the other word that Mr. Riggs used, they're not the same thing. And props to GM Bloodworth for calling that out. Now, before I get into the video, let me just say thanks for watching my video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. And don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon. Mash those buttons. That way you'll get notifications when I put out a new video and you won't miss anything. So, Golden Age. This historian, Ben Riggs, has declared that the Golden Age of tabletop RPGs is dead. Now, I read his post, and I really think what he meant to say, the way I interpreted it, was that the Golden Age of 5e D&D is dead. That's what I think he really should have said. I don't agree that the 5e period of D&D is the Golden Age. Now, I'm going to bring up a definition of a Golden Age in a minute. And I'm sure there are people out there who will look at that and go, that 5e. That describes 5e. No, it doesn't. Okay. In fact, let's just bring it up. Okay. So I Googled What makes a golden age a golden age? And of course, Google gave me something, not necessarily authoritative, but I got this definition of a golden age is a time period in which there was cultural progress, peace, prosperity, happiness, and it is used as a reference to define society. During such a time, there were significant achievements in technology and ideas. The idea of a golden age has changed over the years. I definitely agree with that. So, first off, it is used as a reference to define society, and we certainly have a society of role-playing game enthusiasts, hobbyists, scene interactors. I think most people who are part of the scene but not part of the hobby quickly become part of the hobby. Maybe not all, but we definitely have a society. So this term golden age can be applied to the industry, hobby, scene. Sure, it does apply. The 5e time period, and I know that proponents who want to label the 5e time period the golden age will say, well, look, more people came into the hobby than at any other time. That does not make a golden age. That just means a lot of people, you've gained critical mass and a lot of people have joined. I don't agree that you can label 5e the golden age because there really wasn't much that was golden in the 5e time period. Yeah, some great new rules came about out of the play tests for D&D Next, like roll with advantage, roll with disadvantage. Sure. But Wizards of the Coast kept going back to the well, to the 1E period, to grab products and IP that was sitting there, and let's bring this forward and let's redo this for 5E. And they keep going back to that 1E period. That kind of tells you this is not the golden age. This is not an age of progress and significant achievements and new technology and ideas. This is not what 5e is. 5e is just a period of monetization. It is not the golden age. The golden age, and again, let me just preface this with, this is my opinion. It's not science, it's opinion, it's philosophy. Looking at the origin of this idea of golden ages, we go back to the Greek name Hesiod and his 5 ages of man. And he kind of mixed all that crap with, he mixed it all up with a mythology and some history and just stuff literally that he pulled out of his rear end, quite honestly. And so because it's all mixed with that, you can't really take, it's very hard to really take his 5 ages of man and go, all right, the features of the golden age are this, and therefore we can identify them over here. The features of the silver age are this, is therefore we can identify this as the silver age. And then, oh, the features of the bronze age, and then the features of the heroic age. And then there you have the iron age. And let's hope that we don't have an iron age in tabletop RPGs, because the iron age is largely marked by misery. So that doesn't sound very fun. So the 5 ages that Hesiod proposed for man, and being mindful that there's not a great, it's not obvious how they would translate over. The 5 ages are gold, silver, bronze, heroic, then iron. 4 of them are metal. 1 is just something different. And the golden age, I am completely convinced, you're free to disagree. And tell me why. Tell me why you disagree. I read every comment. Honestly, I do. I am interested in what your argument might be as to what the golden age is, if you disagree with me. But the golden age really is the inception of D&D through 1E, OD&D and 1E, and that's the Golden Age. That's when you had all this innovation, this new thing came about, this what was the cultural progress? There's no real cultural progress in 5E or 3E or 4E. Cultural progress that brought about something new that inflamed the world and blew up our minds as 11, 12-year-olds was this new thing that had never been before. Cooperative gaming in the form of RPGs. And there was great happiness in the land. It was absolutely awesome. And so 1E, the 1E time period is the Golden Age. And we got so much. We got the World of Greyhawk. We got Dragonlance, and we got Ravenloft, and Curse of Strahd keeps going back. They keep going back to Ravenloft and to those early modules and pulling that forward. And we're going to redo this. And so 1E is the Golden Age. And what follows the Golden Age is the Silver Age. So the Silver Age comes about. It's not a clean, I don't know that it's a clean point that you can point to and go, this day. But it happens sometime between, the Silver Age comes about sometime between Gary losing the company and Lorraine Williams selling it. Now, that's a large number of years, but somewhere in there, and it's probably closer to the time point where Gary lost the company. And it's actually, rather than try to pinpoint the exact date, it's just easy. It's probably just easier to say 2E Silver Age. It's probably the easiest thing to do is to just declare 2E the Silver Age and move on. So you say, well, Tom, I think I know where you're going with this. So 3 3rd edition is the Bronze Age. Actually, not so fast. The Bronze Age is actually, I believe, 3 3rd edition through 5th edition altogether. And the Bronze Age ended January 2023. And it's this period of just, and the Bronze Age in Hesiod, it's an age of warfare. It's an age of empires accumulating. And I really believe that this is 2000 time period through 2023, a couple of decades. And it's not a particular edition, it's the OGL. Because the Bronze Age ends and puts us in a new age. It ends when the attack on the OGL began, where the company tried to destroy the OGL and force us into a OGL 2.0. And this new OGL was a wake-up call. It was an attack. And so it woke everybody up. It shook everybody up. It shook the hobby. It's introduced this new age. So I believe that the Bronze Age comes about with the release of the OGL, and it ends with the attack on the OGL and the attempted introduction of the OGL 2.0. And that's the Bronze Age. Now, what follows the Bronze Age in Hesiod is the Heroic Age, the Age of Heroes. This is Thebes and Troy and Achilles and Odysseus and Paris and the Trojan War, the sack of Troy, birth of Carthage out of that. So we are now in the Age of Heroes. And hang with me on this. The Age of Heroes is where giants walk among us. See, we were content. We were content for the gradual building of empires during the Bronze Age. People just published stuff under the OGL, and they just quietly went about their business, tied to Wizards of the Coast, tied to that company. Now, what has happened? The sack of Troy has happened. You see, I remember my dad saying that Helen of Troy was the face that launched 1,000 ships. Now, he was just repeating somebody else's quote, sure, but I distinctly remember hearing that for the first time from my father and not knowing what he meant, what he was referring to. And later in life, as I grew up and got older, began to, that's what Dad was referring to. Helen of Troy was the face that launched 1,000 ships because she'd run off with Paris's younger brother to Troy, and she was Memnon's wife, and so he called for all of the Greeks, and they said, "Yeah, we're gonna go get those Trojans," and so supposedly 1,000 ships came and besieged Troy. Well, the OGL 2.0 is the game license that launched 1,000 RPGs. I'm going to say that. I'm going to predict that. Maybe it won't be 1,000, but the OGL 2.0 will be the game license that we can say it figuratively. Was it really 1,000 Greek ships? Nah, probably not. But it sounds good, right? But that OGL 2.0 is the game license that launched 1,000 RPGs. It woke everybody up. It stirred up the whole hobby. It got everybody off their butts saying, you know what? Hell no, I will not be forced into that walled garden. Hell no, I will not go quietly into that good night of being monetized with microtransactions. Hell no, I will not be bent over the table and raped for my money by WotC. Hell no, we will not go quietly into that good night. And so it woke everybody up, and everybody stood up, shook their hands in the air, and guess what? The Trojans ran away. They ran away so fast. They retreated so fast. How fast did they retreat? They left the 5e SRD behind on the battlefield and put the 5e SRD into Creative Commons. And their retreat was so fast, they didn't even strip out the word beholder out of there. Beholders are D&D identity. You're not allowed to use them. They're D&D identity. But now beholder, the word beholder is in the Creative Commons. You can use it. You just can't use it the way Wizards uses it. And guess what? Strahd is in there too, right? So now Strahd, you can use the name Strahd. You don't have to avoid that. Different NPC, different artwork, different backstory. You can have Count Strahd in your game and publish it and just cite, do the Creative Commons citation. Done. That's how fast they were in a panic and they ran away. That's what happens when people panic. They run away. And the Trojans ran away. They evacuated the battlefield. A little bit later on, Paris came out to fight, but his real name was Kyle Brink, and he lost, just like Paris did. Paris lost to Achilles. And, wow. Kyle Brink, you are Paris. Now, I mean, Kyle was not killed just like Paris, but metaphorically speaking, he is Paris. And, he said that great line, white men like me need to get out of the hobby. Well, guess what? White men just like him, he and the rest of the WotC execs are getting out of the hobby. They've made it clear that they are leaving the hobby. No more printed books. They're going digital. You're going to have a digital rule book, but you're only going to have it because you got to have a subscription. You'll have it because you have the subscription. And, so you're going to have the subscription and the no DM, AI DM, virtual tabletop. And there's going to be housing, just like, remember EverQuest and World of Warcraft? You're going to have your housing there, your stronghold, your dens, they are going World of Warcraft. They are leaving the tabletop RPG hobby. They will no longer be tabletop. They will be virtual tabletop. They will become EverQuest World of Warcraft. That is what they've said. They've told us this. This is not news. This is what they have said. This is what they've made clear. This is the route they're going. Now, meanwhile, there are heroes and giants who walk among us. Some of them are people who ran $1 million Kickstarters to publish a new RPG. I'm thinking specifically of Kelsey and Arcane Library and Shadow Dark. She's a giant. She's becoming an overnight hero in the tabletop RPG space. And, others have run really big Kickstarters, made a big splash, and we're like, whoa, we have heroes here. We have giants here. Especially when you're watching Kickstarters that only do $3,000. Oh, it funded at $3,000. That thing won $1 million. There's the difference between $3,000 and $1 million is absolutely insane. But you don't have to just do $1 million Kickstarter to be a hero in this hobby. I think Eric Tenkar, staking out the neutral ground and don't do politics. I don't do right. I don't do left. I'm in the middle. And he takes flack from both sides and he doesn't cave. That's a hero. That's a giant walking among us. And there are plenty of people who have been faithful in this hobby. And now that they've woken up and they've said, hey, we don't need to be tied to that company. And that company's leaving anyways. So goodbye. Don't let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. See ya. Have fun. No malice in that. Just bye. Thanks for leaving the 5e SRD behind. Thanks for leaving the OGL 1A behind. Thank you. There's still a fan license, so there's multiple licenses under which you can publish, and we're grateful. And go and be warmed and filled on digital mana. And have a good day. It's okay. They're leaving the hobby. But they left us D&D. They gave it to us. It's Creative Commons. They no longer want to be a printer of D&D rulebooks. They want to get out of that. Now it's probably gonna be Wild West a little bit. Every man for themselves got a 6-shooter, got a D6. You reach in your holster, pull out the D6. Sure, it might be a Wild West for a little while, and eventually there'll be like about 3 or 4 big RPGs that kind of rise out of the chaos to be the ones, and everybody's going to go da 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 da, and we'll have A, B, C, D, and E, and you'll just fall into camps. It won't be edition wars; it'll be brand wars. Thank God, I'm tired of the edition wars. We live using the Golden Age metaphor of Hesiod. And everybody they go, oh, the Golden Age. But they forget that there were other ages, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Heroic Age. I really think we live in the Heroic Age. And what a great time to be alive. You say, oh, man, if I could go back, I would try to get my hands on a white box. I would, no. Go back in time. It's again with the pimples and awkwardness with girls and, being hazed by the seniors in high school when you're a freshman. Yuck. Forget all that. It was terrible. I don't want to go back in time. We live at a great time. We live in the age of heroes. And there are giants and heroes who walk among us. That's my opinion. Golden Age was past. I hate to use the word dead. I don't like that. I think that was clickbait by Mr. Riggs. Golden Age was 1E, OD&D and 1E, Silver Age 2E. Bronze Age is the OGL, and the Bronze Age ended January 2023. Ushered in a new age. That age is the age of heroes. And we live in that age. And it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to game. So raise your dice hand. Shake them bones. Let's play. This is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room. That's my opinion on it. You're free to disagree. Please let me know why. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. Do not forget that like, subscribe, and bell icon. Mash those buttons, please. Help me build the channel. And ultimately, just keep on gaming. Keep on gaming. Great age for us to live in. Great age for us to game in. I'm excited. You know, the OGL was attacked, but the OGL is still around. Now they have Creative Commons, and we still have the fan license. So one way or another, you can publish. And it's just awesome.